Okay. I hate to rush, but I've been behind on my videos, so I really want to make sure that we get into this tree of life and get into there well. We're going to start again. We're talking about the tree of life, and the tree of life is a series of triangles. And is this is the mechanism that makes up the spiritual body of all living things. Okay? We start at zero. Zero is not part of the first triangle. That is the beginning. So it is the S it's the starting point. It is not part of the process. The process begins at the first ring. The origin of everything is the subjective realm, which is the absence of all things but not beings. And we have to get that in our mind, because why is this important? It is important because if we are all connected, that is how God is omnipresent. Because wherever we are, or wherever any living thing is, if it all comes from God and is made up of God, then God is there. What we need to learn is forgiveness. Why is forgiveness necessary? Because you are part of me. And for I learn to forgive myself, and people who don't learn to forgive themselves, we know how toxic that it can be for someone who can't forgive themselves. We have to, preservation being a law of nature, self-preservation being the first law of nature. Once we understand that the subjective self is connected to every living thing, then how we treat every living thing will be inversely affected in a positive way. Because now I understand, for me to be cruel to that is being cruel to myself. For me to abuse this would abuse myself. So that is why we have to understand that the first ring, that is not part of the tree. It is the beginning. It is the genesis. The process of moving from 0 to 10 begins at 1. And this is a series of triangles. Looks like that. Triangle 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is the actual physical reality. Number 1, your first manifestation is the differentiation between energy matter. And this is where, in popular literature, this quality of the subjective being called omnipresence, that's what we were talking about, God being everywhere, it must be noted that the Om in the word is derived from the Heka mantra. Omni, Om. A lot of people know about meditations, and you'll see in the movies or hear stereotypically when people are meditating, Om. That's where that comes from. And again, we're talking about that vibration, that sound that begins this process through these rings. This is where the creation of knowledge of self begins. The creation of the vehicles of Netter. The first ring is the Kether, and that is eternal and infinite being without division. But there is no experience with just self. Think about it. What happens if, when we're by ourselves, again, we're applying logic, we're applying philosophy. When we're by ourselves, what are we? Lonely. Why are we lonely? No experience. Without experience, there lacks education. If there's no sky, there's no birds, there's nothing to study, there's nothing to learn from. It's just me. So this is why the Metu Netter is explaining that this objective reality exists, okay, for a very short time. The infinite will is the second ring. The second manifestation is awareness of the true nature. And each one of these have a different sound. The first ring, the top of the first triangle, is eternal and infinite consciousness of self. The second is the infinite will. This is the wisdom, divine will, divine wisdom. The third is the spiritual power. These are the creative faculties that are going to assist to bring about the next triangle. All right? We're going to go over this. This is called the Paut Nituru. Okay? P-A-U-T-N-E-T-E-R-U. That word actually reminds me of a Native American tribe in Nevada that I spent quite a bit of time with. It was called Paiute. I'd be interested to research that further. But we're going to just really kind of get into the first and second one. The netter projects the sound who in the second manifestation. Again, that's the power of sound, the power of music functioning together into the undifferentiated K, which goes back to cos, which goes back to the oneness, the infinite, and gives a second manifestation. It can will to assume any conceivable form. This is the blueprint. This is the blueprint. This is where it can say, this is what's going to happen. And then the spiritual power is in 3. When we move to 4, that is order. 5 is the enforcement of order. 6 is the coordination of the metaphysical workers. Okay? These are the laws. The first 3, 1, 2, 3, those are the creative faculties. The laws that govern 4, 5, 6 are created in the second realm, the second manifestation, the second triad. Now, the triangle is very important, and it's seen a lot in masonry. There are some people that call it, if you want to look up Richard Casares, it's described as a triptych. You have one low corner. The left, of course, is your female, or Boaz. Your right, male, Jachin. Top and highest point is your spiritual eye, the all-seeing eye. You'll see that all-seeing eye, India. You'll see it in the Orient. You'll see it in Africa. You'll see it in your Native American works. All across antiquity, each continent, you see it. That triangle, every time you see it, that is what that is. That is the balancing of your two selves, bringing you into reality. Left and right brain. Remember that. Then we move from the second realm, we have our creative faculties, 1, 2, 3. We have our laws, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to move into the creation of the celestial workers. That begins with 7, the designs of the beings. 8, the variation of the beings. And 9, the energy of the things and events. 10 is the actual physical reality. Now we're going to actually go back through those, so it may seem a little repetitive, but it's going to be a little more meat put on the skeleton each time.